con đường mà chúng ta phải đi qua, những con đường thật ngắn và những con đường là dặm xa.
Hi, I'm Yoon and I'm here to share with you my knowledge in city design and showing you how to sketch a town. At the beginning level, you may only care about the definitions of scales and dimensions and how they work in drawings. That's why I guess some theoretical parts in this video may seem long to you. However, you will understand the deeper meaning of scale when you get more involved into design. I will start by the definition of dimension. When you work with a variety of dimensions from very small to very large, you will soon need scale. I will also talk about scale in drawing, in town city design with its true meaning further than just drawings. Dimension is a measurement of something in a particular direction, especially its height, length, and width. When you sketch a town, you have to know the dimensions of so many things. For example, how wide are the streets? How many car lanes do they have? How about a park? Is it large enough for the population of the community? And a lot of other things. You have to know the dimensions at least on the plan. Scale is the size of something in relationship with something else. So whenever somebody mentions scale, you have to know what is the other thing related here.
Now I'm starting with the freestyle scale, and I do this exercise on a caro paper. First, I choose a line segment and assign its length as 1 meter. From now on, I will measure everything based on this segment. I want to draw half of the roadway, which is 3 meters wide. I will measure 3 times of the segment, then another 3 meters for the sidewalk. Here I want to design a 6 meter wide lane for pedestrians. I will measure 3 meters on each side. 3 meters is of course 3 times of the standard segment. In the middle of the lane is a lawn which is 2 meters wide, so I'll do 1 meter on each side. And a bench which is 2 meters long and 0.5 meters wide. 0.5 meter means half of the segment. Let's add some trees on the sidewalks using the same techniques of measuring. Let's move on to the scale of 1/100. On my caro paper, a square of 5 mm by 5 mm is equivalent to 500 by 500 mm in the real world, which is half a meter on each side. So 1 meter in the real world would be the length of 2 squares on my caro paper. Everything is easier now by just following the caro. If I don't use the caro paper, I'll use my ruler. 1 centimeter on ruler is 1 meter in the real world. This example is a bit complicated for the entry level. You can do this on your own with simple objects like rectangles, a chair, a swimming pool, whatever you like. But I suggest you draw the same thing at different scales so that you can see what's the difference between them. In my opinion, the scale of 1/100 is very comfortable to draw architecture and landscape design. But for town and city design, it's quite large to do on a paper. Now I will draw the same urban landscape design at the scale of 1/1000. One segment of a square now is 5 meters in the real world. 5 meters suddenly becomes very small on my paper. Can you recognize the same area of pedestrian lane at this scale?
After you practice drawing things in scale for a while, you may agree with me on two things. First, the smaller the scale is, the harder you can draw the details. And second, the smaller the scale is, the bigger things you can draw. When I say bigger, I mean the size in the real world. In any map, especially in urban development master plan, you often see something like this at the corner, or something like this. It's a scale. It helps the viewer understand the real size of everything in the drawing. Scale in town and city design are used a bit differently in many countries. Here are some common use of scale. 1:200 and 1:500. This is the most detailed, representing how people will build the landscape and positioning the infrastructure and considering very careful the close surroundings of the project. I recommend you use this scale if you want to design a small neighborhood, a few blocks of houses and apartments, or a small town center. 1:1000 and 1:2000. This scale mostly reflects the overall use of space of the project, the relationship of the built environment and open spaces, how different kinds of lands are used in the project, how routes of infrastructures run inside and connect to the outside of the project, such as roads, electricity, and water. I recommend you use this scale if you want to design a neighborhood, a small town center area. 1:5000 and smaller. These scales are mostly used for zoning, strategic planning. They don't show enough details of the design. Even if you want to draw a large map of such scales, you will need precise drawing tools, not just hand sketch. In professional urban design planning field, a project may require many maps and plans at various scales, because they need to research and present things at different points of view with different levels of details. As you can see now, if a drawing has a smaller scale, it's about a larger area of town design. The scale of a project is not only about drawing, but also other aspects such as investment and management. Let's say, if a project's main scale is of a whole city, it's related to the management of a city infrastructure, which is more complicated than of just a suburb. If you want to build schools, you may need to design many schools, not just one as in a neighborhood. You may even consider to have a university in your city, but you may only have kindergartens and elementary schools in your suburb. Public space for a suburb may need to host a few thousand people, but for a city center, that may be 10 or 20,000. I read that there are about 1 million people celebrating the countdown at New York's Times Square. Understanding the scale helps people have better vision of a project and share better communication when there are many stakeholders involved. This video has been long. If you've gone this far with me, I hope you understand what I want to share with you about scale with 3 keywords: presentation, communication, and investment. After this video, there are 2 things you can do. First, practice drawing with scale as many times as possible to get used to it. Second, learning about all the dimensions of things you may draw in your town design. You can learn by measuring your surroundings or on Google Maps, or from some books for architecture and design students. See you in the next video.
Có những con đường mà chúng ta phải đi qua, những con đường thật ngắn và những con đường là dần xa.